Hey folks, Nick here from Another BookTube channel, and today I will be reviewing Fletch and the Widow Bradley by Gregory McDonald. This is the fourth Fletch novel, and it is a prequel to the other books in the series up to this point. There are a few more prequels that get published eventually. This was the first one. And I don't usually do spoiler reviews on the channel. I like to keep things vague so that you have the joy of discovering what happens in the books to yourself, and you get to have it fresh. But this book, I have things to say about it, and to do so, I must discuss the spoilers. So I will have a little section in the beginning here where I quickly give a non-spoiler review, but then I'm going to talk about the spoilers. So Fletch and the Widow Bradley is an early in Fletch's life. He's a journalist who does a quick throwaway story. He fills in for somebody doing a financial story covering some small company that nobody really cares about. And he gets fired because of it, because he quotes the CEO of the company, Tom Bradley, recent quotes. Unfortunately, Tom Bradley is apparently dead. His widow calls the paper and says, why would you run this in your paper? My husband's been dead for over a year. This has caused my children grief. What's going on? Fletch says, I was shown by the vice president of the company or whatever, recent memos dated weeks ago, initialed by Tom Bradley. I know this, but I didn't make copies of it. No evidence. You're fired, Fletch. But Fletch can't let it go. So he continues to push and pursue this company, talking to the widow, seeking out, why was I shown false documents? And can you prove to me that your husband actually died? That's the crux of the book, the driving force. It is very well written. I really enjoyed this book. Of the Fletch books, I would rank it third out of the four that I've read so far. Still incredibly enjoyable. I haven't read a bad Fletch book yet. The main problem that I have with this book is that I knew what the twist was going to be at about the 50-page mark, maybe 75-page mark. And I'll talk about that more in depth in the spoiler section. But keeping it vague, the twist here only I think works when the book was published in 1981, because it hinges on the idea that you're not going to be super familiar with this kind of niche concept. It's something that I don't think works today, because what ultimately is the twist is something that today is more commonplace. It doesn't require a huge stretch of the imagination. So it was the first thing that I thought of. And so as the book is going on, he's finding more and more clues, or lack of clues, or lack of evidence about Tom Bradley's death. It's just reaffirming okay, so I'm right. This is going to be it. This is going to be it. And it was. So that's the only reason I'm a little bit down on this book, is because it's the only one so far that I've been able to predict what the mystery was and the solution. That being said, let's move into spoilers. I do still highly recommend this book. It is Fletch, as I've said, is a great character, one of my favorites of all time, and it's fun seeing an early adventure for him. Now let's get into spoilers. It's going to be spoilers for the remainder of this video. So the very obvious twist that becomes evident early on, and you'll need the context clues from the book to make this make sense, but Tom Bradley is not dead. Tom Bradley is trans. And so in the early part of the book, it's mentioned that Tom's sister Francine is on the other coast of the United States right now, taking care of some business, and then she's going to come over here and she's going to start running the company to replace Tom, since he's no longer with us. And at that point I was okay, so Francine is Tom. That's just what this twist is going to be. And yeah, that is what it was. So my real suspense while reading the book wasn't like, oh, how is this mystery going to wrap up? It's going to be, how does Gregory McDonald talk about trans people? Like, how is this going to be presented in a book written in 1981, in which your main character is notoriously a bit of an asshole? And I am super happy to report that Fletch says trans rights. Fletch is super okay with it. Fletch says nothing snide about it. Fletch accepts the situation almost immediately. So when he confronts Francine and the widow Bradley, um, Enid, he doesn't quite get it. Like, he figures out, like, Francine, you must be Tom, but I don't understand how. And Francine explains it to him very clearly that I was a woman born in a man's body, and like my soul, I was always feminine. From when I was 3 years old, I knew that I should not have been a boy. And the I love the way that Gregory McDonald writes this. This quote really stood out to me. This is Francine talking. Can you imagine a worse conflict than being a girl in a boy's body or a woman in a man's body? No life can be worse than the life which obliges you to be dishonest with every word, every expression, in every living moment. That, to me, made me feel like Gregory McDonald actually spoke maybe to a trans person. Maybe in 1981 it was hard to find multiple, so maybe he knew one and he spoke to them about their experience, because that feels insightful to me. That doesn't feel like the surface level, like, oh, Gregory McDonald heard about sex change operations and so he wrote a book around it. That feels like he did some research, and it got me thinking about like what kind of guy Gregory McDonald was. And there's very little about him that I could find online. His Wikipedia page is short. The only mention of his personal life there is that he was, in terms of political activity, very much against the KKK. He was from the town where the KKK like started, and he was, staunchly against them. So that's good. Then I found the official Gregory McDonald website, which I think has not been updated since 1998. There are a few sections that are hard to navigate and kind of poorly written, but I did find this piece where, considered liberal, McDonald insists he is of conservative thoughts and habits. I don't know what that really means, but it goes on to say that legend has it that McDonald was the first in the American major media to write openly against the war in Vietnam, for civil rights, women's rights, and gay rights. That's all I could really find. So Gregory McDonald was cool, was chill. 1981, he's writing about this and not using it as a gimmick. It seems like he was actually using this as an opportunity to say trans rights, to say that trans people exist, and that at this point he mentions like there are thousands of us in the U.S. And just get it known, like using his popular series to have a good little message out there, but also putting it within a very well written package, a very well written mystery. And regarding Fletch, as it's explained to him, he gets it immediately. He doesn't make any remarks about how, like, well, if you're going to call yourself a woman or like anything like that. He's just like, I believe the line after all of the explanation is just that you convinced me. Like, it's just that simple. And he also makes the decision, like, he's not going to like print this story. He says, this is not in the public interest. What you choose to do and who you choose to live as and what you do with yourself is your own business. I need to tell my editor about this because I need to get my job back, but I will also make sure that he sees it the same way. And he does. He talks to the editor, and the editor is like, okay, yeah, no, that's fine. Yeah, there's no reason to print it because there's no story here. It's just a person living the life that they want to live. Like, we have a guy in the mailroom that used to be named Elizabeth, and like, there's amazing things with surgery nowadays. Like, you can never tell. And Fletch was like, I did not know. So yeah, this is just like, this was a really surprisingly LGBTQ plus friendly novel. I wish I had read it during Pride Month. And to contextualize a little bit about why I was nervous, is because since I knew what the twist was going to be, I couldn't help but think about the movie Ace Ventura: Pet Detective, which is otherwise a very funny movie. It's a classic. Everybody knows it. Um, but you also, everybody knows the twist in there, in which Einhorn is a man, you know, and like he does the whole gag where he like washes his mouth out with soap and a toilet brush and all that. And in that movie, the twist of the character being trans is played for laughs. It's played for like, oh, how disgusting! I accidentally kissed a man who says he's a woman. Bah, what a joke! Like, no, that's not what happens here at all. This was written 13 years before Ace Ventura came out, and it just treats it like this is a matter of just human decency. Like, this is just how some human beings are. Accept it, get over it. And if you can't get over it, get out. I don't need you here. So yeah, this was a really great book. The mystery doesn't work in 2025 just because being trans is no longer something that is unknown. People know about that now. And you'll probably, even if I didn't tell you the spoiler, you probably would have picked up on it just as I did within those first 75 pages or so. Nevertheless, my arbitrary and subjective grade for Fletch and the Widow Bradley by Gregory McDonald is 8 out of 10. Do with that what you will. If you've read this book, let me know your thoughts on it in the comments below. Thank you very much for spending some time with me today, but now it's time to get back to reading.